What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, it's Nestlemania. Alongside of the ride is a man that is now back in the saddle, and everybody's probably very happy about this. JC, welcome.
And better than ever. Of course, everyone's happy to have me back because finally someone can check the Nestle family on the absolute nonsense. It's a scary thought. When I'm listening to the episode, I'm like, oh my God, Adam's the voice of reason?
Who the fuck is Adam?
that was something. Look, Kenny loves AEW, clearly, and that's fine. But
I will defend this to the end. I will defend this to the end. He's my brother. I love him, whether they loved him or they hated him. He helped me in a jam, and I appreciate it. So I will say that much. So
I'll say this much: he can still be the better Nestle, just maybe not with wrestling takes. How about that?
And there he is, pissing all over me. Not 2 minutes into our program. All right, so. There's a lot of things to remember here. Obviously, that we got a lot to talk about. We got to do our SummerSlam predictions. We got to talk about Great American Bash, all that stuff. It's in this program. And of course, JC's here to help us as well. So I think we start one place, right?
We start in the shine, baby. But like you said, you didn't do the jingle. SummerSlam. SummerSlam. We're going to get there because it's all about, but you know what, Nestlemania? I'm starting to shine a little differently this week because I don't think you've seen it yet. And I don't know how many people have seen it yet, but on Peacock, there is a Cody Rhodes documentary, which is 2 hours of fucking porn. That man is amazing. His story is amazing. And man, it just like watching it just got me excited all over again and how much I love him. And it also fucking pissed me off how much they fucked up at WrestleMania because that doc could have ended so perfectly, but instead it ended kind of sour and whatever and to be continued, but it is what it is. But I'd definitely check it out, whether you're a fan of Cody, whether you're a fan of WWE, whether you're a fan of good stories, or hell, I think this is something that people who don't even really like wrestling could watch and be interested in because there's definitely a very human element to it. It's a lot of the stuff we already knew, but it was kind of cool to kind of relive his journey because it is probably one of the most unique journeys in wrestling history.
So I haven't seen it yet. I definitely want to see it. I think the 2 hours that I have to dictate to it, I don't want to watch it in pieces. I kind of want to watch it in its entirety.
It goes fast for a 2 hour doc because it pulls you in pretty quick.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I'm very excited to watch it. I just, like I said, unfortunately, my schedule is a little limited these days. But I do plan on watching it and doing a full review, obviously, because people want to hear what I have to say about it, of course. Just kidding. Anyway, so since we're here in Cody land, we might as well talk about what happened on Monday. I assume you're going to put this in the shine because you would never put Cody in the heat, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it was just more of the same with Cody and Brock. Like, we know this is the payoff. This is it. The big match at SummerSlam. So they haven't had much work to do. This thing's been sold. So it was just more of the same. So I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's amazing. I'm not saying that, but it's what we expected it to be. It's Cody and Brock. What I did thought was super badass is in Cody's entrance. He just fucking charged out of the ring with his pyro going off behind him. It was a cool visual because usually the pyro, like you pause and you celebrate, but he's just marching to the ring like, I'm going to fuck you up, Brock. So that was probably the highlight of the whole segment for me, honestly.
I kind of chuckled at the that pyro part, but the crowd's still going, whoa, the whole thing. Like, it just made me laugh so fucking hard. And then when they fucking they shook hands, I went, then he alphaed him, and I was like, okay, there you go. And then the timing of him being like, oh, whoop, 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 whoop. And then he bounced off the ropes, and there we are. And I'm like, of course he's going to fucking just beat him up. Of course he's going to fucking just smash into him. Like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. So again, I did want to bring this up because it seems like something that like the dirt sheets were saying for a very long time, which was there was supposed to be a stipulation to this match, and there's not. I don't think it needs it, but it's just bizarre.
It's there. It feels like there should be something here, like whether we were expecting like a no DQ, but yeah, it is. There's not actually. It's funny because like when I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a stipulation on this. It's like no holds bar or something, but I literally just double checked there isn't a stipulation. So we're gonna have a good old fashioned wrestling match, but yeah, it is kind of interesting that there wasn't because this usually in a payoff match you have a big type of spectacle.
It's bizarre to me where SummerSlam we're headed in because it seems like there's a lot of like randomness in terms of these stipulations. So we'll get into all that tonight. But it's bizarre to me where we're headed for SummerSlam because there's 8 matches. We'll be curious to see what we do here. Anything else that you want to talk about right off the bat before I get into my shiny shines?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with something that I wasn't expecting at all to start because honestly, I have a lot of shine this week. I thought there was a lot of good stuff on Raw, some good stuff on SmackDown. And I have one thing that I absolutely adored on Collision that I will get to, but I want to start here because I think it deserves something because a lot of the times, like this device that WWE is best at when they use it correctly can really make it better. I'm talking about the Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler packages because this was a feud that has been absolutely fucking dog shit. Poopy, shit stain, garbage, no interest. Like, I know why they're doing the match, but I was like, why the fuck? This is a waste. There's so many other people that deserve it more. That would be way better, especially when you have Ripley on the card, Becky on the card, Trish on the card, and all this. Is like, why the fuck do we got this? But man, those packages were so well done because it did what those two really haven't been able to do to the audience in terms of captivating us and really giving us the story. Because obviously we know the story, they go way back, blah, blah, but the detail they got in and Shayna really getting a chance to like explain her perspective on and their evolution of their friendship, give a little more details to it. And then Ronda's like typical reaction of like whatever. And I thought she actually like, we know Ronda's not a very good actor, but I think that this was probably some of her better work ever in terms of like, because I think there felt like there was some realness to it of her like being actually hurt by someone that she knows, like she's understand, like, yeah, I went out of my way because I wanted to be your friend, blah, blah, blah. But I just thought it was really cool because they split it into 2 parts, first of all. So it kind of let it breathe a little bit too, which was good because it was, I think together was probably, I mean, it was a very long package, but I thought it was so well done. And I thought they sold this match for me, a match that I didn't give a shit about, but at least now, like even we know it's probably not going to be a classic because it's MMA rules, going to be a little different, but I'm interested now because the feud makes sense finally.
Mm-hmm. Danny having no prisoners. How dare you say that about my brother? Brock versus Cody stipulation is the loser has to listen to Kenny talk about Britt Baker. Listen.
We'll get to Britt Baker later. That was something.
I think he was just trying to grind your gears. Anyway, so here's what I want to say very quickly about that thing. I echo all of your sentiments about what you said about that. The one thing, there are 2 things actually. The one thing was somebody quoted, "Wow, she was crying," and I'm like, "Fuck her crying." Shayna was crying, who never shows any emotion ever with that gravelly voice and shit. And then when she said that I'm the godmother to this little girl who I love so much, and she'll hate me for the rest of my life, I'm like, oh, God damn it! Like
that was a line, baby.
That was like
a line.
That was that. And the other thing, the other line that really got me was, she's like, yeah, she let me live at her house for free so she could beat me up. And then the other part was, she's like, I went to every training camp for her. She didn't go to one training camp for me. And I'm like, we've all been there. We've all been there when we've been used by somebody else. Now, granted, the best stories are personal issues. And this is as personal as it gets. When we've always heard from Jeff Jarrett that personal issues draw money. And I think that he has that written over his office, which I tend to agree.
Yeah.
He's right. The personal issues are the best way to go about it. I mean, you look at anything on SummerSlam card here, the ones that we're interested in, they're personal issues. So I'm very interested in this match, though I kept getting so angry that they didn't say fight pit. And I get it's a logistic thing. They probably can't
MMA
just have
rules or whatever, or something
but it's MMA rules. Here's the thing, and this is the part that you're probably going to agree with here. We know that Shayna's winning this match, but if it's a knockout, I would rather a knockout than a tap out, because to me, a tap out is like,
they're both submission specialists, though.
No, so. I know, but I know it's going to be a choke out. I know that's what's going to happen, but I would rather see her get knocked the fuck out. Like, I think that would be way cooler because I feel like we don't see enough knockouts in wrestling. We see a lot of tap outs, and I feel like we've talked about this before. Submission matches in general, especially we can talk
Suck.
about what
We'll
happened.
get to that.
Yeah. But submission matches in general are difficult. This is like, you love MMA. You watch a lot of UFC. You're a UFC, well, you bet on it and you pick your predictions and stuff. I see it all the time. So I imagine that you love a good knockout.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, that's the reason why you watch, to watch someone get fucking destroyed. Two guys put their or two women, whatever, put their lives on the line. But the one thing the biggest question I have is what does MMA rules mean? Are they doing like fucking? Are they doing a 5-round fight with 5-minute rounds? They doing
they just said flat out it's KO or tap out. That's the only
yeah.
one.
So it's just like, so it's a weird. It's yeah. That's the it's, I don't know. It's weird. The fight pit definitely would have been better, but it's probably a logistical thing for one of those, especially when you got a bunch of other things. Like, it's because you got the tribal combat on this too, so you got a bunch of like weirdly named things that are like pretty much the same thing. But
sure,
yeah, I mean, we obviously know what this is. This is Ronda going out on her shield, putting Shayna over on the way out. But I just think the link that they brought with like the comparisons of Shayna has always been the one carrying the water for Ronda, even though she was there first. Like, Shayna was an MMA first, never got her big break. Ronda got it right away, but then she was part of the reason that helped Shayna get her break. But then, like you said, like the training camps, that's the big thing. Like, that's especially for MMA fighters, like your training partner, it's like your brother, it's your sister, it's the person you spend all the time with, and you build a bond because they're training just as hard as you are to get you ready. And obviously that being a one-way street. And then obviously we get to WWE. Shayna has to go through the grind. She starts in the Mae Young tournament, goes through NXT, works her way up to the main roster where Ronda just shows up and she's main eventing WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So it just, I like the parallels you had that in the career. Like, this is how it's always been. Shayna's finally had enough. And it was something that obviously felt rushed when we did it, which we'll find out what Ronda's next path is after this when she's done with WWE. But I thought these were so necessary to make this match be at all interesting and make sense. So I'd give the WWE production crew a bravo for that.
So I want to interject here with our boy Bertsky having a question here saying, curious your guys' thoughts. I'm excited for SummerSlam. Don't get me wrong, but in your own opinion, do you feel that the card is underwhelming this year or just enough? I mean, the fact that you said overwhelming or just enough, and Joe makes a point here saying outside the bloodline, it's very hard to build all that stuff. But
on SmackDown, because I think the Raw storylines have been great. I mean, Cody Brock, like, it's a payoff. I'm all about that. Ricochet, Logan Paul, we can get to that next. I think this build has been incredible, and that match I can't wait for. This match, obviously, the Rousey Baszler we were just talking about was the bottom, but they think they helped it. I mean, that Battle Royal seems like a throwaway, but it also seems like an LA Knight showcase. So that's a positive for me. The women's match has been trash. We agree there. The Gunther McIntyre, I could care less about. It'll be good. Rollins Balor is the one that's probably on the fence for me because I will really, really love it if Finn wins and we get something with Priest. But if it's just Seth just retains and Priest doesn't cash in, I feel like we're just spinning our wheels. So
let me ask you this then. What if Finn loses, right? And then Damian tries to cash in and then Finn stops Damian from cashing in and they
I don't like it. I want a member of the Judgment Day walking out with that gold. Okay. That to me would make it successful because look at Rollins is great, whatever, but he doesn't the Judgment Day with what they're at right now, especially with Rhea and Dom having titles, it's like it's time to drape them in gold because they are at their peak right now. Seth doesn't need that. And plus, it's a babyface. Babyface are always better chasing because if Priest ends up champion, guess what? Rollins can chase him for a few months. So it's like one of those things like I think that the next step we have to get from here to there.
I do agree with you on a lot of it. I do feel like, we're kind of in the bloodline ending here between Bloodline, Cody and Brock, and then everything else is kind of how I look at it. I mean, I'm still interested in, I think we can talk about it now because I think this is probably something that you brought up and I think I agree. Ricochet and Logan Paul did a great job this week doing a lot of good business, especially last week did a good job too. There are a couple of nitpicky things that I want to get into. However, I think it was a great effort on both parts, but I will say they didn't do it once. They did it like 2 or 3 times here where they mentioned like, and this is why I love the WWE, and I'm sure my brother would roll his eyes. There's a variety here of different things of a buffet of grappling, a grapple buffet, if you will. And there's a lot of things to entice you for watching this stuff. So for me, I'm excited because they said, we're going to have the most viral match the WWE has ever seen. And I went, you know what? That paints you in a different category. Is it going to be a spot fest? I don't fucking know, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna love it. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
Like this is gonna be fucking hilarious. I'm sure at certain parts. This is gonna be fucking devastating and awfully like watching through the middle of your fingertips kind of thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I think they did a great job. Where I think they did an okay job, and I think it was probably just the wording for me. And again, super nitpicky because I think they did a
Shocker.
fantastic job. Well, I'm just saying, maybe it's the dirty man in me. I don't know. But at the very end there, when it was like, that over there is your fiance, and what he said something was like, I hope there's no hard feelings when she announces me as the winner. What I think they were trying to do, and I think they could have been more edgy because they're edgier on Monday Night Raw, I think sometimes, was I would have imagined him saying the line to me would have been like, this is where you go into where he goes, hey, bro, don't get mad at me when she's saying my name. Like it make it closer to a sexual reference to me, then you get the fucking boom. And then you go. But again, not a huge concern because it still fucking was awesome. So, but I just think those things are good for packages to tip over the scale for me.
We got the point. I mean, look, and obviously with Logan, it's weird with him because like he's obviously like such a charismatic guy, but you put him in WWE in front of the crowd, like he does kind of freeze up a little bit and stumble over words. So wasn't the perfect delivery, no, but the second that he started to mention it and you knew you were going to the direction we were going to get that cutaway of Samantha, I was like, yes, this is what this feud needed to take it from here to up here. It's like, just get that little bit of personal because I mean, this match was sold before it was even booked with these two guys. Cause like you said, Spot Fest, AEW fans, you should watch this shit because this is the best wet dream of spots you're ever going to see. This is what those untrained idiots try to do is what these two guys are going to do. They're going to put in a fucking spectacle. It is going to be incredible. And I can't wait, but it's just like that little bit of it. Cause I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, everyone knows Ricochet and Samantha are together and she announces and whatever. And Logan Paul just bring that little bit of realism into it. I was like, good. See, I don't give a shit if it wasn't executed to the Nestle perfect degree. We fucking got the point, baby. And this shit is super hot fire, and I cannot wait for this match.
On a scale to 1 to 10, I'm going to scratch that. What match are you most excited about for SummerSlam?
Overall?
Overall, out of the 8.
Well, I have the top 3 for me is the...
No, not top 3. Which
I'm just saying,
one?
my top 3 is Tribal Combat, Cody Brock, and Ricochet, Logan Paul, and all 3 are for different reasons.
What a fucking cop-out. I asked you for
one. Of
one.
course the cop-out. In terms of, like, spot crazy
There's
fun,
one.
it's this match. In terms of storyline, it's fucking Roman J. In terms of fucking in-ring fucking I think is going to be amazing is Cody Brock.
Okay. You're useless.
Why? What's your number 1?
Out of the gate, Tribal Combat.
Yeah, 100%. It's the main event. That's why it's the main event.
I mean, to me, it's one of those things that I'm genuinely curious to see what happens. So I just...
Joe's bringing up Commander in the chat. That walking botch. Are you kidding me?
I'm not even going to dignify that with putting it on the screen.
So. Kenny Nestle's not on this week. There's no Alpha Kenny here talking about how Commander. I love watching AEW because they bring in all these people that I've never heard of. That's great. That's fine. I think that's cool sometimes. Put it on fucking Rampage. You got enough goddamn people on your roster you don't showcase. That's why Collision's great. But Dynamite, that fucking piece of shit has 2 watchable things a week. Let's get the fuck out of here, Britt Baker. Top. Are you fucking kidding me? Good God.
Anyway, we're still in the positive part of the program, so if you want to dump on somebody, let's do that later, I guess.
Well, I brought up AEW, so I'll bring up their most positive thing from this week in AEW, and that was the main event fun on Collision, where FTR retained against MJF and Cole in a great match. I mean, MJF and Cole have not been tagging together long, but their chemistry is so much fun. They fucking put the E in AEW in terms of entertainment, not elite. It's elite entertainment, I can tell you that. These guys are great. But what I loved about this is obviously FTR got the big win that they needed to cut and cementing themselves into the stamp like we're the best. But the way they did it was a way, obviously, we were all waiting for the turn. But even before that, the way that they lost by MJF for the first time ever, we see him do something unselfish. I was like, whoa. Because it's obviously we know that MJF's already given them the match, and it's baby v baby, friend v friend for the title, and obviously there'll probably be something leading up. But I love that they're slow playing this. This is like the anti AEW thing to do, is to kind of let something breathe and kind of like let it stretch out and let it naturally develop. Like, this shit is fucking fire. It is the best thing going for them. The no turn after, the embrace. Like, I am so excited to see where the storyline goes. Like, I can't believe, well, I've been watching this whole thing play out, that I'm watching AEW, because this is the most WWE thing ever, and they are fucking nailing it. Fucking nailing it. And it's shocking to me, but it's just, I mean, that match was, I was blown away. I didn't know if the match would be that good. You never know when you get the hodgepodge tag teams. We obviously know FTR is fucking the best. They're great. So everything about this I absolutely loved, but I was surprised by how they pulled it off, and didn't cop out and actually gave us something interesting.
I really loved watching that tag match. I loved all that stuff. But the one thing that was lurking in my back of my mind when I was watching this, I'm like, I know the answer is no, but it made me think, right? Which was, is MJF trying to be a babyface so they can make CM Punk a heel so we can get the champion versus champion match? Because I feel like people are leaning into the CM Punk go fuck yourself campaign.
We'll talk
especially
about
with
that
X
heat,
thing.
maybe.
But I
We'll
feel
talk
like
about him in the heat.
But I feel like MJF's obviously the devil, obviously, as he says, and all that. But I feel like you can't make a baby because he's so good at being a dickhead. So when I look at it, I'm like, okay, we're waiting for the shoe to drop. But I wonder if this time around, if they're going to make it so that MJF has a reason to be a dick. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just flat out being a dick, I think that's a difference. So
well, I think obviously what they'll probably do is the jealousy thing's gonna come in, because we've seen Adam Cole look at the title and we saw how MJF reacted the first time. So I'm sure, like, now that he's given him the chance and they have like a little friendly rivalry, like, I mean, MJF, like, you can call a spade a spade. We know what he's gonna end up doing eventually. So I just love that they found a way to pay off the match well, not make it lame, and continue the momentum they've been building. Like, I thought it was so well done. Whoever's booking this shit, like, bravo. And I know it ain't Tony Khan, because that fucking cocaine cowboy would have fucked it up by now.
I'm a cowboy, baby. Speaking of cowboys, have you ever visited the basement of the Alamo?
I have not.
Well, you should.
Have you?
I've never had the pleasure.
Oh, okay, so you're just bringing up a random reference.
Yeah,
they want you to take the bread. You know,
they want you to take the rolls.
I know I did that on purpose. I know it pisses you off.
You jerk! If you're gonna make fun of me, do it correctly. All right. That's all I gotta
say. The JC effect, baby. Speaking of effects, I'm going to SmackDown. We're jumping all around the shine today. I'm having no rhythm. I'm back. I just want to fucking talk about all the cool shit. And you know what?
Much like your sex life, no rhythm.
Oh,
go on.
Baby, there's plenty of rhythm in that. It's chaos. Much like this. I mean, it was probably as good as Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller. You know what, man? Main event Jey Uso is back, but you know who else is a fucking main event player? It's Grayson Waller. The effect that he has is he main events, baby. He doesn't win, but that don't matter, man. I love the interactions they had to set this up, because Waller is just the perfect foil for like anyone, and it just works. I thought this match was fun. I love that he's all in on this Rock thing, so it makes me think at some point Rock's going to come out and interrupt him and fucking beat the shit out of him, which will be a great moment for him, and I'm all for it. But I just like during the match, him doing it, and I love that they cut to Roman and Roman laughing. I was like, that's good. That's good, because we know Roman's kind of had some negative things to say about The Rock. So when Grayson was mocking him, I loved that they cut away to Roman and he thought it was funny. Like, it's little things like that separate Roman. And I mean, this on SmackDown, they're finding a way in this build with Jay and Roman to make it great every week. And I love the little injection of Grayson this week, because I mean, it was fun. It gave us a little fun. We're 2 weeks away. This, like we've talked about with Cody, Brock, and other things, this shit's been fucking sold for a while, but there's making compelling TV still. So that's shine, baby.
I did really like the setup at the beginning, where Jay being the first person to be seen on SmackDown, and then of course the Tribal Chief comes out 4 minutes and 30 seconds of his fucking entrance and pyro, and then they start talking, and I was like, okay, cool. And I just love like the little nuances of like, if I win or lose, I'm still Roman Reigns. You are you. Like, belittling him from the beginning, calling him Little J, the whole thing. And then Waller calling him Little J. Like, there's just little things that they do over and over and over again, being like, you want to be the Tribal Chief? Like, seriously, you think you're the Tribal Chief? All that stuff was great. And on top of this, I don't know if you got a chance to watch the clip today. It's about 10 minutes on YouTube of Roman Reigns being on First Take.
I did not.
On ESPN. That was absolutely fucking gold. Like, so Stephen A. Smith was a mark the entire time. It was fantastic. Like he was fanboying out the whole fucking time. He's like, "Let me get the chair for you," and he was like, he pulled the chair out for like Heyman, and he was like, "You're the best manager of all time. You're the best manager of all time."
Sounds like Stephen A.
And then he was and then they were like, "What about Bobby the Brain Heenan?" And to Heyman, not even a second, he goes, "I'm the GOAT. He's dead. Who cares?" And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And it was just like, and they were just asking questions. So I think like them being in New York, doing that, getting ready for Detroit, great fucking stuff. Go check that shit out, because that's the difference between the AEW stuff and the WWE stuff, is they're on a different level in terms of just global growth, excuse me. And just watching Stephen A. Smith become a fanboy makes you kind of appreciate little things like that. Like the WWE is way up higher here, because if somebody like that, like Stephen A. Smith, is just like kissing ass and shit the whole time, I was like, this is amazing to me. Amazing to me. So go check that out. Something that I want to talk about very quickly that I thought was worth talking about here, which I can't believe I'm excited about next week, is having Sheamus versus LA Knight. I don't know why. I mean, it's LA Knight, but the fact that like watching that interaction backstage, I would have never fathomed the two of them. But like watching him like be like running down Sheamus and like talking about him, and just the way they treated LA Knight throughout that entire thing, I was just like, they know exactly what they're doing. They are pissing everybody off. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. But it was just so fucking funny to watch. And I'm sitting there going, and I get them in a battle royal, which they could potentially, either of these guys could win. Obviously, we hope it's the LA Knight moment, but who knows? I mean, they're doing a great job on SmackDown with little itty bitty things that they have to kind of shoehorn in the 2 hours. So I'm always in there for it.
Yeah, and it was a fun. You didn't even mention the in-ring stuff with the Hit Row making their return coming out, and it's like the perfect thing for LA Knight to just go out and fucking trash his Hit Row. So it fucking worked. He squashed Adonis after he cut a great promo. But yeah, I mean, literally. So I mean, we can kind of get to this in the heat too. But like, the internet has been fucking crying about like a bunch of matches not being on SummerSlam. It's like quality over quantity. That's been the Triple H thing for the past year. But the other thing is, I feel like if there was a plan to do Becky Trish or a Rhea match at SummerSlam, LA Knight fucking changed that, because they were like, we got to fucking book this guy somehow, because it is just too hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a bullshit battle royal. We're going to put him in it. Then he's not going to win, so they can get mad again. But it's just like, that's literally like you forced their hand into giving LA Knight a match, but now you're going to complain about other things being left off. It's just like, baby, make up your mind, people. But it's just like you said, they know exactly what they're doing. They are going to fucking drag us through the mud, because that's what WWE does, baby. They don't want to make you smile until you're already dead.
And then, of course, I can't believe we're this far into the program without talking about this positivity that I wanted to watch with my pants off. Gunther versus Gable. When I saw that backstage segment, I was like, oh boy.
They've teased us with this before too. And
I know.
And they keep teasing us.
And they did the 5-minute thing, and I'm like, and he gets more time.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, this is fucking amazing. Like just watching Gable hit him just as hard as he hits other people, I was like, this motherfucker is going for it. Like this guy is gonna fucking he must fucking get a hard on every time he gets hit. Like he was just like boom. And then just watching that was just phenomenal. Just fucking phenomenal. Gunther is a specific kind of guy, but he's working with everybody and making it work. You know what I mean? Like he's taking his style and applying it to different people, and it still works. And Gable can do no fucking wrong anyway. But man, does Gable just fucking, I'm always impressed. Always impressed.
He's the literal best. Like this guy, I mean, we were talking, it's funny, before the show, because we both kind of had the same idea. And I was thinking about this, because this is going to be my hope, was that Gable's the one to eventually dethrone Gunther. Then when I did that, I'm like, why does this seem so familiar? I'm like, I'm pretty sure like 4 to 6 months ago, that was my hope, is that something, because they did a segment like this before, where it was a random one-off. It was Gable and Gunther, and Gable hung with him, and Gunther won. And I was like, man, he would be the perfect guy to beat him, and I'd love that. But I think I kind of want to double down on it here. I'm obviously not making my hope, because this isn't the hope, but like the Alpha Academy is so hot right now. Obviously, Maxine got her first win. That's Shine too. She looks super hot fire. She's a stud. We love her. So that's all part of this here. But it's just like, Gable is never going to be hotter as a babyface than he is like now and in the next little bit. I don't know how close Gunther is to smashing all those records, but
He's
I
less
really
than a
do.
month away.
Yeah, I really do believe that before the Rumble, he won't be IC champion anymore because I think that's where I have a feeling he's going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship, or he'll be the World Heavyweight Champion going into Mania next year. So, I mean, I think he's the favorite to win the Royal Rumble if Cody doesn't repeat. We see that all the time. A guy who comes in seconds being groomed to be a champion the next year at some point. So I think we can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel for Gunther's transition from mid card to main event. And I think Gable's the guy because he's never going to be hotter as a babyface. He's so good. He deserves it. The Alpha Academy is red hot. You can do so much with them. It's just like they even like they'll probably have a little feud with Imperium because the last little bit of shine I have this week also is my fucking boy Ludwig getting a big fucking singles win. I don't remember the last time that guy won a singles match, but also Ludwig versus Riddle Nestlemania. We talk about Gunther being born. Ludwig and fucking Riddle tore the house down. That was porn too. We had some great wrestling on Raw this week.
I will say this much: there was a moment there at the beginning where he hit him with a forearm, and he just went like he just went down. And all I could think about was like, I know that probably wasn't a concussion, but god damn it, did it look like one? And then like again, it's like these guys get fucking hard-ons every time they get fucking knocked around. They just like all of a sudden you just got like the visceral reaction from Ludwig. You're just like it's like hit me, and then all of a sudden it was just like slap, 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 pow, and all I could think about was, holy fuck, what is going on here? And I kept, my eyes were glued to the TV. I was just like, what is going on here? But the only issue I have with this is if I don't understand how Ludwig was like, if he won, he reinstated himself to Imperium, or he like made the match sacred again. Like I get what they were doing, but it felt like, of course he's gonna fucking beat Riddle. Like, come on.
Well, I think it was WWE kind of calling themselves out on their own booking, because the problem is when you have someone who is so unbeatable like a Gunther, you need his goons to take a lot of L's to build up the competition. So unfortunately, that means Vinci and fucking Ludwig are getting pinned left, right, and center. So I think this was important to WWE being like, you know what? We're acknowledging that. And we know Ludwig is a fucking stud, and he's the one that is truly Gunther's right-hand man, because he's still down on my boy Vinci a little bit, but it's like we got to give him something here and give him a signature win to kind of put him back in the good graces of Gunther, to kind of try to like brush up like he's taken like 30 pins in the last 12 months for Gunther, So I didn't mind it, because when you have someone built up that strongly, obviously he's going to want to hold the people around him accountable. So I thought that was important. I thought it was very smart by WWE to kind of be like, acknowledge like, yes, we know this is a problem, we're addressing it, and we really do believe in this guy, and we want to give him a moment. And that's why for me I thought it was great. But one thing I do want to say before we transition from the shine is Kenny obviously came on here and said a lot of shit last week, but I just think this was important, especially for me to hear and like all of us to hear, is that like Alpha Academy, the reason it's working is someone like Kenny who watches WWE but obviously does not love it as much as AW, besides Dom Mysterio, who's fucking amazing. Alpha Academy was his second favorite thing. And I think that just shows you that to the whole range of different types of wrestling fans and audience, like how good this is and how much it's working. So I can forgive a fucking disgusting match with Valhalla being involved. He's fucking terrible. I'm sorry, Ray, but she sucks. But I can forgive it because it's somebody's first ever singles match against someone who I know can't wrestle. So I'm taking the moment there, but I'm just saying in general, like Alpha Academy, like what they've done, makes me happy.
I will say the Maxine doing the overhead suplex for the pin, I was just like, I know Conway's going to be like, actually, it's a Japanese yada, yada, yada. But whatever. Sue me. I don't remember. I saw the name of it. I don't remember. I don't remember every single move that's ever created. But when I saw it, I went, look at the fucking bridge. Like, she fucking worked hard on that one.
She's super athletic. And from everything you read, like, I think it was like there's been several like interviews, but everyone says how hard she's been working too. So I love that. I love seeing hard work pay off for people, especially someone who they clearly signed because she was hot and they wanted her to be arm candy. And she never wrestled in NXT, and on the main roster, she's fucking got several matches now in a really fun program and is under the tutelage of one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. So I think it's awesome.
All right, should we get heaty? Get him off my TV, get him off my TV, get him off my TV. Where do we begin? Do we decide to go with a cross?
Tell me when I'm telling lies. I will say that every time Kenny referenced that last week, I thought.
All right, let's just start there with the CM Punk nonsense. So I always laugh at this shit because it's funny to me. In that
Yeah.
CM Punk promo, he said, "I have to be the responsible adult," and I went, "Where the fuck is a responsible adult in this ring, Shivani?"
Ugh,
Like,
there's so many issues with this
but and then
promo.
they fucking did the spray painted X thing, and I'm like, okay, it's not an original thought because it was the NWO thing, but before that, there were other people who had spray painted titles as well, and whatever, it's cool. There's an X, but all I could think about was like, we're really making a fucking consolation prize on Collision now. The consolation Collision
Yeah.
prize.
Yeah.
Holy fucking A. And then here's the other the tidbit of it all. So we do that whole thing, and all I could think about was CM Punk shits all over Hulk Hogan. He's looking a lot like Hulk Hogan right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking about all this nonsense, and all I could think about was you were literally 2 steps away from creating the NWO. Like, that's it. Like, that's all you're fucking doing. So for me, I was just like, I appreciate what he's trying to do, but let's just fucking do something else. Like, I'm not in on it. I don't like it. It's tough when you have this whole like, what's in the bag? What's in the bag? Nobody gives a
We
nobody
knew it
cares.
was in the fucking bag, CM.
It was just tough, and I think they're trying to make something out of nothing. I know they love to homage. I know they like to call back to things that they were fans of. And if they do a fucking ladder match or something with Max and Punk or something, kudos to you or whatever. But god damn it, I watched this and I went like, this is souring for me awfully quick.
Yeah, there's so many problems with this, and I like that we have different reasons for why we didn't like it. But for me, it's just like the timing of this was fucking dog shit. Because this motherfucker comes out and says how he's unbeatable and how no one's beating him. It's like, mofo, we just watched your ass get pinned by my boy Ricky Starks 2 weeks ago. So you're coming off an L, and you have the audacity to bring a belt that, by the way, you fucking lost. Moxley fucking beat the shit out of you and fucking squashed you, motherfucker. So get over yourself. I know, whatever, you got it back, whatever, but it's like, nah, you fucking lost that thing before. You're a fucking fraud. So it's just like, for all those reasons, I'm already like, this is horrible. If he would have done this the night he came back and pulled this out of the bag, that would have made sense, whatever, because he clearly felt like they were going to be adding another title to Collision or whatever here and having this kind of be like its own entity. But the timing was dog shift. And the other issue, and this is something I saw someone else tweet, and I was like, you know what? That's a fucking good point. You also did this on the show where the actual AEW World Champion is fucking booked, knowing that you're not going to send him out there because you don't want to cross streams on these storylines because the other one's so good right now. You can't mix it up. So you make MJF look like a fucking idiot with this dildo out in the ring, running his mouth, trashing how you're not a real champion. He is. You're telling me that the real, if Maxwell Jacob Frieden was a real human being and not a character on TV, that he wouldn't come out and have a problem with it? Of course he would. So you're making him look like a fucking idiot because he doesn't come out and interrupt him. And it's not even it's just everything the way they did this was so fucking wrong. The timing was terrible. CM Punk fucking has been dog shit in the ring. So to have him come out and say he's a world champion, fuck off. I hope Ricky Stark fucking beats that ass next week and fucking takes the shit on his face and holds up that shitty fucking title, because by God, CM Punk is no world champion of mine.
He's not even mid-card material at this point. I mean, the
He's,
way he's
a
wrestling
nostalgia
now,
act, which is fine. AEW, like, it's fine to have them. Like, CM Punk should be in AEW. I agree with that. I think he has a lot to add. But world fucking champion, fuck off.
I know. Anyway, moving on to other things that are heat related. We have a Cross beating Anderson in a job roller is what it is. Carl Anderson. I mean,
Would
at
you
this
take
point,
this one personally as a Carl Anderson hunk?
I will say this much. I was a Carl Anderson honk. And then when I found out more about him, I'm like, you know what? Never mind. Anybody I like at this point in my life is probably cursed anyway. So at this point, I'm not helping anybody. So you know what? I'm just going to curse everybody. It's just what it is. I'm going to live under my bridge, and I'm going to be a fucking troll, and I'm going to be like, this guy's not good. That's it. I just want to say, but I don't like this AJ Styles Club Cross nonsense. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It was bad. And your boy Danny saying Carl Anderson match of the year, LOL. Yeah, it's the first match of the year probably for him, if we're being honest. But the whole thing is just, this is the bottom of the shits for me. This is the fucking bottom of the toilet. I'm done with it. I don't care. Anytime I see any of these people on my fucking thing, is just, it's awful. It's fucking just terrible. I can't deal with it. So it grinds my gears so much. The other thing that drive me insane, we're going to stay on SmackDown very quickly, was this is where my asshole tightened up. We had fucking, for no reason whatsoever, Bianca and Charlotte taking on the tag champs, and then they fucking beat the tag champs.
That's typical WWE booking.
I know, but all I could think about was you fucking dragged them through the mud for so long, and then you hot potatoed, and then you put them on two women who have deserved to be a tag team, and they're deserving of tag team champions. And I know they're going to say this fucking, like, when these multi-time champions come together, they're better than a tag. No, I don't believe that shit. I think it's fucking stupid. And then when they could have cost each other the match, one could have walked out on the other.
Or so many better ways to do it.
There's so many better ways to do this. And then they didn't even have Asuka do much. Like, it was just like she was backstage. It was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, you are taking a shit on something that they need to fucking put a giant spotlight on, for something that doesn't work with a triple threat that is going to be a fine match. But
it's probably going to be a great match, honestly. It's going to be fucking awesome.
But you don't need that. You do not need that. It's fucking stupid. It just, I don't get why they sacrifice that constantly. Men's or women's championship specifically. Like, it does, the two tag team divisions, they just shit all over it. So,
God, it's so frustrating because you're talking about three of the most talented women's wrestlers of all time. Not just like right now, like of all time. And fucking Bianca Belair, who might be the future GOAT. Charlotte, who is the current GOAT. And then Asuka, who has always been one of the more underrated ones, but also one of the most decorated women in WWE history in terms of doing it all and winning it all. It's just like, and this is the shit we get. Like, I mean, you said Asuka doing nothing, and then I kind of laughed. It's like, that's kind of been her whole title reign, is she hasn't done shit. It's been about Bianca or Charlotte or Io or just anyone but Asuka. But it's just like, I don't know. It's amazing to me that week after week, like these segments are just absolute dog shit. And it's just like, how have you not figured it out by now? Like their booking of the woman going into big events the last couple of years has been fucking atrocious. I'm going to call a spade there, because we love shitting on AEW and how terribly they book women. WWE ain't much better, buddy. Like they nail some things, and like, you want to watch a show that actually books women well, go watch fucking NXT, because that shit's great. By the way, it's on right now. My girl Lola Vice is debuting. Almost had to cancel my appearance on the show to make sure I watched her fucking be a stud out there in her tag match. But it's fucking disgusting. It is disgusting, the booking leading into this match.
So what else are you upset about? I'm curious. I mean, spin the wheel.
Well, it's funny. We can go to Raw and talk about the women's, but it's not for the reasons a lot of other people do. It's like the Becky Lynch Trish thing. I'm just like, okay, so the will they, won't they, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna do the match. I'm like, okay, and it's an immediate DQ because fucking Zoe Stark can't keep her hands off. It's just like, oh my god. But I was like, when they started to book the match, I was like, oh my god, Nestle's dream's coming true. Lita's gonna come out and it's gonna be a tag team match on Sunday. So they saved us from that. But I'm actually pro to the decision to not have this on SummerSlam. I kind of like saw someone bitch on Twitter about it, and I kind of quote tweeted them and fucking kicked them in the face over it, because I think if one of those things, you put this on the SummerSlam card, it's going to be rushed. It's not going to be given time, and it's not going to feel special. Where it's like the payoff for this should feel kind of special, because we are talking about two of the greats here. So doing it in 2 weeks is like a main event type match in Canada, by the way, I think is a much better spot for it, instead of forcing it in on the SummerSlam card. And I think that's a theme kind of, like I said off the top, of the Triple H reign, is that instead of quantity of just shoving all these matches and making a long pay-per-view and shortchanging like 7 things, let's make everything we put on the show pretty much quality. And like around the event, we can have like big payoff matches. Like, so I think they've done a good job with that here. But in terms of like the segments, again, it's just like, the fuck am I watching? I can't fast forward enough. I was so ready to fast forward this match, but before I could even hit play, it was a DQ.
See, actually, I didn't love it, but I didn't mind it, because I'm like, I don't think I've seen that in a long time, so yeah. I didn't mind it, and I just thought it was funny to me because like she made a timely reference of fucking the Houston Astros being cheaters, and I'm like, even Corey Graves was like, yeah, but it still fucking worked, right? And then the other thing too is the thing that makes me super nervous about this entire thing, and Kenny shine this on a light on this last week, and now I'm like looking at it all the time. Last week, Becky Lynch had a random promo backstage with that skull, and he was like, "Oh, it's Bray Wyatt." And then if you look this week, Zoe and Trish had a backstage segment where they were setting up the match for 2 weeks, and that skull was in the back again. And all I could think about was, why is there a skull? And then I looked up and I'm like, fuck. Lita has that exact skull as a tattoo. And I was like, you got to be fucking.
I mean, we knew this was coming. It's literally how this whole feud started. The Trish heel turn happened because of it. So eventually it's happening. It's just every time I think they're going to do it, they haven't. So I'll give them credit for that of being surprising. But you got to think with whatever hits the result, whether it's Becky winning and then a beatdown or Trish and Zoe once again cheating to win, Lita's coming back in 2 weeks. And I think that's yet another argument to not put it on the pay-per-view because look, they're not truly pay-per-views for WWE anymore. It's like you subscribe to Peacock or WWE Network, you can watch it. So I think saving a lot of these big moments and space them out more, you can do that because you don't need to fucking someone to fork over $65 for a premium live event because they already have it.
That's a fair assessment. Our boy Danny says, is there an Evolution PLE this year? Trish Becky would probably still go on. Then I don't. Here's my thing. This is someone where you're gonna say whatever you want about me. That's fine. We did it. We did the Evolution PLE. I think it was necessary for that particular moment. I don't think it's going to ever be as peak as it was when it happened.
I agree.
And I think that's hard for people to swallow because there are a lot of people who carry that torch and they do a great job with it. But especially now that Ronda Rousey is leaving, the notoriety of the women's division is going to be having a giant void once she leaves because they will not have a name that is outside of wrestling that can carry the women's division to hold the PLE for a while.
Yeah, I just don't. I think it was something like you said. It was necessary for that time because it was to show that the women are here and they deserve it and they can do it. But I think we're beyond that now. We know they can do it. In fact, most of our complaints is that like there's too many talented women that just aren't getting opportunities. There's something we always say about the men. Like that's my big thing with the SummerSlam card. People bitching. It's like, you know who else doesn't have matches on this pay-per-view? We're talking like the Sami Zayns of the world and stuff like that. Like it just. Think about what happened last year. You remember the Seth Rollins match got scratched from SummerSlam and never happened? So it's one of those things like you could overbook the card and something like that could happen again. So that's my thing about the quality over quantity. It's like this match is going to mean so much more in a couple weeks. Whatever they're doing with Rhea, if they just booked Rhea Raquel on fucking Sunday, it'd feel rushed. I like that they kind of had Rhea take her out again to kind of extend it so this can like continue to pay off. It does suck that Rhea's barely defending that title, but part of the reason she's barely defended is she's literally murdering her competition before they can even fight her. So I like for the most part that this stuff is spaced out more, but I do also understand the frustration with a lot of things. But again, it's like there's so much talent on this roster that you can't use everyone all the time. So people are going to be left out, but it's one of those things like I think they're picking their spots better than they have in the past of being like, okay, Trish Becky, we're putting you in a couple weeks. Like Rhea, you're going to have a big match, whether it's next week or the week after with Raquel or Liv or whatever. So I think there's positives and negatives to it. And I understand frustration. Believe me, I do, because it happens all the time where someone I love and think deserves an opportunity doesn't get one, but it's part of the biz, man.
Danny says, we had comebacks at SummerSlam last year. Are we getting one this year? Randy ? I mean, I will go on record here and saying I'm hoping for Bray Wyatt. I'm hoping for Bray Wyatt.
I'm not hoping for it, but it's going to fucking happen.
I think we are getting. I mean, if Brock Lesnar is going to lose, it's going to be Brock Lesnar loses, rolls out of the ring as quickly as possible. Cody does his thing, lights out. I mean, it's going to be a quick, forgettable fucking loss for your boy Brock Lesnar if that's the case, because then it's on to the next thing for Cody Rhodes. So, adrenaline in your soul, enjoy it. I can tell by your face you don't like it, but it's fine.
No, I mean, if anyone can fucking make it work, it's Cody. I just don't want it.
I think I'm gonna clip this off because I guarantee you when it's Bray Wyatt versus
Cody's the fucking,
you're gonna fucking love it.
Cody could feud with a fucking dead thumb, and it would be the best thing on WWE TV and the fucking planet. He's that fucking good. The man's a fucking salesman. Just listen to him talk. Like the guy could sell me anything. But and Bray's amazing talent too. It's just, I just don't.
And the bell rings.
Not right now. Yeah, well, that's part
of the
bell rings. But if anything, like I think it's the kind of like with some of the Randy matches, like it can be interesting because of the in-ring psychology of certain guys. You need that with Bray because you know it's not going to be a Wrestle Classic.
No. Well, so here's a little spin on it. What if it's Cody Rhodes celebrating and eats an RKO?
I mean, come on, I feel like they don't do Randy Cody until a while. I think that's something they save for when Cody's champion, because that's like he wins at WrestleMania, he comes out on Raw, fucking RKO out of nowhere, and we're fucking full pants tent city into the next era of WWE. But I
Oh
mean,
man, as we
I can
call
see
it,
Randy coming back. I just don't know the spot.
I mean, it's not Riddle because we can't help Riddle because he's not going to get pushed. The other thing too is like you can have a pants off dance off there with fucking Riddle. I mean, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at some point anyway. So I don't know. It's difficult. It's really really difficult because I feel like there's going to be somebody we forgot about that we'd be like, oh shit, you know. But like maybe there isn't. I don't know. It's not like they're going to parade Goldberg back out. So
Yeah, last year we did get the big Damage Control debut, and it was awesome, but it was all downhill from there, obviously. So yeah, I mean, maybe when we get to predictions and we're kind of running through the card, maybe something will dawn on me. But there's nothing off the top of my head. They could throw someone like a Carlito in the Battle Royal, and that could be his debut, because the rumors are he might come back full time. Which, I mean, come on, I spit in the face of people who think they're cool. I'm all in.
all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else besides I don't know, some little knickknacks here or anything? No.
I mean, it's heat, not because of the performance, just because it sucks. Is Ray getting injured at the end of that match? Seemed like Santos was supposed to win, anyways. If you believe what you read, it kind of sucks when you see stuff like that, because obviously Rey Mysterio is amazing. We know he's in the twilight of his career, so any lost time kind of sucks, and it takes away the moment that Santos could have had by pinning him and then getting the recognition from Ray. So it's just one of those things that's unfortunate, and that's heat.
As much as I like Santos, I feel like no matter what happened in that,
they're pushing him too hard, man.
It wouldn't. Yeah, he's just.
It's not time.
Every single time I see him do the LWO and nobody's fucking cheering, I'm like, it fucking peaked at Puerto Rico and it's done. Like,
well,
I'm
just
sorry, it is.
It's like, it's just with him, it's just been such a weird thing, because I know he's so talented and I want him to get called up so bad, but like him as like a baby face, he's like Ray's sidekick. So until he turns on Rey Mysterio, I don't give a fuck. And the thing is he's probably going to win that US title on Saturday, and no one's going to give a fuck, because
it's not on Saturday. It's not even on SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right. Yeah, whatever it is.
No one's going to give a fuck,
because we all want it to be LA Knight. Yeah.
It's in a sticky situation because LA Knight's not going to probably get a championship shot for a while anyway. But it is what it is. You want to get hopeful?
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, because you don't have one, of course, because you're fucking caught with your pants down. Anyway, so here's something that I have thought about a lot lately, and so we have the bloodline, right? And it's kind of a blueprint for success, or at least I think the WWE is looking at it that way. They're even using it to kind of make it so that the Judgment Day is set up the same way, where it's Roman and Jay, and then it's Finn and Priest, right? Here's what I'm thinking. They're going to use that blueprint for Bobby Lashley becoming world champion again to put over and put the rocket ship on Tez. This is what I think they're going to do. They're going to end up, they're doing it in a great way. Like, we're kind of at the end of the bloodline. We're in the middle of the Judgment Day. We're just starting with Bobby. They're doing a great job, kind of like A, B, C shell game. And we're moving around. And I want this to happen in the worst way possible. Bobby Lashley being a fucking dominant champion again. You finally get Tez to fucking get some cool, edgier look, and he fucking becomes the big guy on campus, fucking beats Bobby Lashley in a huge moment. You fucking rocket ship that guy, because star is not even a definition when you look at Montez Ford. I mean, that guy is a guy who you can physically put on a poster, looks good. He has a wife that's fucking great too. That looks great. But then you watch him talk, you watch him have the charisma. He's got everything in his arsenal to be a success. So I think Bobby is going to be there. Could be 6 months, could be 3 years from now. I don't know. But Bobby Lashley is there to prop up Montez Ford as a world champion. That's my hope.
Interesting.
Because I think this is the equation that they're going to use going forward for factions.
Oh no, I agree. I agree, and I think that works. I don't know if it's Tez or if, like, because we've seen him Bobby kind of flirting with Carmelo too. But I mean, I think that's still more down the line. But I'm so intrigued by it. You know, I'm so into this. But Nestlemania, while you were talking, I came up with 2 hopes.
Ooh.
Because Danny said he wanted to know who's going to return, but on SummerSlam, I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking debuts because there's a couple people in NXT that we talked about during the draft that we thought would be up, and it got me thinking for two different reasons. One, this is an easy one. You have a fucking battle royal. You have someone who can easily win it. That's fucking thing. It screams Braun Breaker, and it screams Braun Breaker fucking throwing LA Knight out last to get fucking booed out of the building because this guy as a heel has been so good, and it makes me want it. It's like, you know what? That's the perfect way to debut him because you have fucking one of the hottest acts in wrestling. Yeah, and you let him get screwed by fucking Braun Breaker, who's been on fire as a heel, and people don't anyways. It's just like, mwah. It works too perfectly. It's like WWE porn. Vince is going to be freaking in the back jerking off Triple H. He's going to be so excited about it. But yeah, that's hope number one. Braun Breaker debuts in the Battle Royal, wins it, tosses out LA Knight last. Yeah. But my other one, it got me thinking because we were kind of talking about like the discourse with Imperium and Gunther being upset. And it's kind of been one of those things like, do they eventually ever come back to adding a fourth member? And, there's a couple guys that could be there, but there's someone in NXT who just lost a world title match again, who has a lot of history with Gunther, and it ended with a lot of respect. But what if Dragunov debuts and likely screws over McIntyre, or maybe he comes out because it looks like they're all cheating? This is how I would do it. You have Ludwig and Vinci getting involved. McIntyre can't get the upper hand because he's dealing with all this. Dragunov comes out to a big pop, and it's like, oh my God, finally the odds are even. Graves is on commentary. They're even in the odds, Ilya Dragunov. Blah, blah, blah. He has a history with Gunther. But then you get the extra turn. He fucking screws Drew. Gunther retains. You have a fourth member of Imperium again. So hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. I got two big NXT debuts with two guys that have done all that they can down there. Big debuts on a big stage in SummerSlam. Likely only going to get one if we get any, but there's two for you to pick from Triple H. Thank me later. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC hopes come true. Hashtag JC is back. Hashtag JC is the best. Hashtag fucking yeah.
You do realize that Dragunov just did an interview saying, I want no part of being Imperium. So you should remember that.
I mean, if I were booking him as a surprise
no,
to come and
dumb.
fake save Drew McIntyre,
no.
I would tell him to go in an interview and be like, I have no interest in joining his Imperium, because that would make the little
You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass.
Virgins like Nestlemania over there being like,
oh yeah,
he literally just said didn't want to be an Imperium. There's no way it can happen. So then when it can happen, you'll just be like, oh my God, the internet was wrong again. I've been so wrong. How could this happen? Dragunov lied to me. I hate him. Guess what? You're supposed to hate him now because he's a heel, motherfucker. Check, 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 check. You just got served.
You are the dumbest person I've ever met in my life.
I am the smartest person I've ever met. You might be the most gullible.
I know you are, but what am I? I made him choke. Don't die.
I took a zip.
Jesus Christ. Do you want me to take over?
I was trying to say yeah, but I hadn't swallowed yet. So I went to say yeah. My non-swallowing was in my throat.
Oh my God. What an auditory response that was for everybody at home.
Come back. I gotta catch my breath.
I'm sorry. I'm giving my comeback to Raquel Rodriguez because I loved seeing her. It was Houston. She's in Texas. She's a big Texan. The crowd went nuts for her. She looks like somebody that can go toe to toe with Rhea, excuse me. They're best friends. It seems like a lot of fun. So when I saw that, I went, finally something. Let's not screw this up, because I loved her. Then I hated her. I thought she was sloppy and lazy. And then, was too concerned about her back muscles instead of being a good wrestler. And then she gets fucking, I don't know, just thrown into the tag division for eternity, and now she's fucking coming out of it like a big fucking deal again. So here's hoping they do her right. I mean, clearly she's not going to beat Rhea Ripley, but I mean, let's give her some fucking oomph. Let's give her the rub. Let's give her the Rhea rub if we could. So I'm excited to see what they do with Raquel Rodriguez. That's my comeback.
If you're back on the Raquel train, I'm worried for her because she got red hot and you started to love her, and then she hit like a little downturn. You abandoned her. Then she got hot again. Oh, the Nestle curse is dwindling with Raquel. She can't escape it. But yes, you are a back shamer, as Danny said. But my comeback has been a lot of things. He's been a lone wolf. He's been a king. He's been happy. He's been sad. He's been rich.
He's been a bum ass.
He's also one of the greatest wrestlers of our generation. I'm giving it to Baron Corbin, who once again has a new look, new music, new everything. And he had the daunting task of taking on that debuting Gable Steveson. And by God, it felt like we were in France again because Baron Corbin was a fucking babyface with the crowd because they appreciate him and they really want to fucking hate Gable Steveson. When they turn Gable Steveson heel, if he puts in the work, he could be an all-timer because people already fucking hate him and WWE's going to push him down our throats. But I'm giving Corbin my comeback because he's a stud. Obviously, WWE, we know that they appreciate and know what Corbin can do because this is a very important spot of who you put against Gable. Who do you have confidence in to make him succeed in his debut? It obviously was Corbin, but it was a very weird booking spot because you have the debuting gold medalist going against the guy that you just repackaged and are trying to make a badass again. So that's why we got the bullshit double count out, but we'll get another match. It'll probably be like a street fight. Don't love the booking. We can talk about that in a minute if you want, but I'm just happy to see the Corbin thing. He's had these little vignettes on NXT. We know he's a free agent, can do whatever he wants, but Corbin working with some of the younger talent has been a lot of fun. I loved his work with Mello, and I look forward to him really letting Gable Steveson here getting his feet wet in WWE.
All right, now we're into the big old finish here. You want to talk about NXT Great American Bash? You want to do?
Yeah, let's do it. I will say this: you probably didn't watch it because it was on the pre-show.
I did fucking watch it.
You watched the 8-person mixed tag?
I watched it in clips. I'm sorry, but I watched the rest of the show. It was fucking
super hot fire and might have been the best match on the card, which is a lie because the main event was amazing. But this match was fucking incredible. I hate 8-man tags, but I'm watching this and I'm like, man, would be a Wednesday wet dream if AEW could pull this off because it was what they try to do without the batches. And considering some of the people that were involved in this match, your girl Lash included, there were like no botches. This match was fucking awesome. The Frozen Leon tag team, who I'd like never really been impressed with, they were fucking super athletic in this match and amazing. Oral Medicine, I'm sorry I've been calling you that. Ora Mensa was a fucking stud in this match. I love Noam Dar. That dude fucking entertains me to hell. And then obviously we know fucking Frazier and Dragon Lee can go. But this match was an absolute blast. And if you missed it on the pre-show, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I suggest you go back and watch a fucking meaningless 8-man tag because it was fucking awesome. Mixed person tag, I'm sorry.
I laughed really hard when I saw the backstage segment with Dom and Dragon Lee, and he goes, "Do you know who I am?" When you see Rhea mouth Batman. I lost it. I lost it. I fucking lost it. But again, yeah, I you know I don't like Lash Legend, but the other 7 people were hilarious and great in that. And I see a lot of upside with Nathan Frazier, definitely a mid card dude that can be great on the main roster. I think Dragon Lee. The jury's still out on that guy. I think Noam Dar has done so great on NXT in general, and what TJ has written about him is just stellar performances.
His character work has been A+.
I mean, just watching him being comatose, holding a framed picture of the thing is just like when I see that, it just makes me like these people get it. You know what I mean? And then I didn't know much about the women's tag team there, and then when I saw them in those particular spots with the fucking oomph over, with the alley oop, I just thought that was fucking incredible. So I like. They mixed, tit for tat. They went back and forth, men and women. It was great. And I loved every part of it. So, I'll probably go back and watch the whole thing.
I recommend it. Next up on the main card, we had the D'Angelo family ticket on the Gallus boys, who I figured out, Nestle. I think of all like your British shaman, I think you're the biggest of all is you're a Scotch shamer because you hate Gallus and you hate Drew McIntyre.
I think they need to be a fucking Scottish foursome is what they really need to do.
I mean, it could work, but I'm just saying this match was fun. It was a good match and the right team won.
You know what it is like, here's my issue with it. I love Sheamus so much. You know what I mean? And
he's Irish.
No, but here's the thing. I love Sheamus. I like Pete Dunne an awful lot. I don't even mind Ridge the Fridge, but what it is I feel like Gallus feels like a watered down, less enthusiastic, less character development brawling brutes for me. And I don't, and then again, I like Joe
Gallus' fault though, because Gallus was a thing long before the Brawling Brutes. And
I understand
don't know if you watched NXT UK back in the day, but they were really good over there. Especially your boy Joe Coffey.
I love Joe Coffey though. Like when there's a whole coffee thing I do with Todd about Joe Coffey that I love. But I'm not going to do that here. But again, like Wolfgang actually impresses me with a lot of the stuff he does, but it's just like the presentation of it just feels like it feels less than. And I think that's the part for me where I can't invest in with it. And I just feel like, here's the thing. Like we've talked about this, about the factory, right? The factory, they get the next version, the next generation of like, oh, if that person leaves, we'll just plug this person in here, plug this faction in here. They do that. And again, there's no fault of their own, But when I was watching it, I'm like, Gallus doesn't do anything for me because I've got Sheamus. I've got
You're a
the
Scott
Brawling
shamer.
Brutes. I'm just saying.
It's okay. You're a Scott shamer.
Whatever.
But D'Angelo's won. Should we talk about them?
Hey! Look, I will say this much. I am so interested in where this goes. And of course, they're wearing orange and black. How could I hate on that? But there's something about watching about the crowd pop. Like when I'm watching a good match, just watching the fans' reaction, they fucking loved it. They fucking loved it. And so watching them go, and I think that's the other thing too, is like you're gonna see less of the NXT UK people because I'm assuming NXT Europe will be coming back at some point.
I don't think it's as close as we think because there's been several. So what pretty much seems like it is that all of the employed wrestlers were given the option: come to the States and work at NXT, or you can be done when your contract's out. Because there's been, I think, Leah James, like in a bunch.
That was
of
one of my favorites. Yeah,
yeah, they've slowly been asking because they didn't want to move to the States. They want to keep working over there, so they've gotten their releases. So I feel like that's a sign that NXT Europe isn't as close as we think.
Okay, perfectly fine. Moving on.
Next up, Roxanne Perez beats Blair Davenport. This is exactly what we expected. Roxanne getting a big win and revenge.
I didn't care for this match at all. I thought it was
the weakest part of the card.
It was
second weakest part.
The part that I really didn't enjoy about this was that it was so tailor-made to like, and I'm probably exaggerating here, but it felt like 50 to 75% of the match was right in front of her mother and her the sister. And it felt like they were trying too hard with that. And again, Pop Rocks on the end was fine. I like that. But it felt like, and again, not her fault. I'm sure this is what was told to be done, but it didn't do anything for me. And I felt like it was definitely a low point in the card.
Yeah, I agree. I got nothing to add there. They're in a weird spot with Roxanne right now. Next up was, this match was it's one of those matches where it was fucking awesome. And part of the reason is like Wesley has become one of my favorite baby faces ever. He's just so fucking rootable. And then Dom, who is just fucking one of the greatest fucking heels we've seen in a long time. So that dynamic, and also I didn't even mention Mustafa Ali, who's incredibly gifted too. This match was an absolute blast. I had a ton of fun. The right man won. I love fucking Rhea just taking out Wesley. I was like, oh my God, that was good. Anytime she mixes it up, but it just like my appreciation level, like I'm a Wesley stan. I'm a Dom Mysterio fan. So you can just think about the amount of tornness I had in this match, but I just thought this match delivered big time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it was a hard triple threat match. It was definitely difficult to have A and B and then B and C and all that stuff as they normally do. But I really enjoyed watching Wesley because I didn't watch it live. I had to catch up because I saw you guys all commenting on it. So I was like, okay, clearly this is going to be a fun match. But then I was kind of hoping, like they're going to hold Dom, have that title for a while, which I get because they want to look, like you said, draped in gold. But I was hoping for a moment there that Mustafa Ali was going to get his due. I really did because Wesley's had his moment. He might go down right now, at least in my opinion, as the best
greatest North American champion
ever. Yeah. And I think it's just because of just the way that they presented him. I think they did a fantastic.
He's the WWE's Orange Cassidy. The same reason why we love and appreciate him is because whenever you put him in the ring, it's an absolute banger. And the amount of times both those men defended their titles and every single match was fucking studly. It just like it's not debatable. It's not.
Debatable. I really hope that with Wesley, he doesn't see his friends in Impact and think he has to go back there because he's doesn't
not going anywhere, man.
WWE's
so here's the thing. You talk about replacements, you know who's if something ever happens to Ricochet, it's fucking Wesley. He's the only guy that comes close to that athleticism. He's not Ricochet, he's a little different too, but it's just like that's the guy like that when you want that next guy, like when Wesley gets to the main roster, he's going to be a guy that we're going to complain about being underutilized, but it's going to be like the Kofi or Ricochet where they just kind of rack up title reigns quietly and they're always involved in big spots, but they never fully get their due, but they're relied upon because they're fucking good. That's Wesley.
And I will say this much. The one thing he has up on Ricochet, and as much as we love Ricochet, he has a great charisma. Yeah, his charisma is authentic. It's easily relatable, and he's kind of got that swagger.
Devastating the way it happened, like with his friend, like and just like you felt for Wesley because it feel like it just everything was pulled from him, and it's like these guys were being positioned to be such a great tag team and have that pulled away. It's like, well, what happens to Wesley now? Because none of this is his fault, and it's just like that's part of why we fell in love with him is because he worked his ass off and he earned everything he got. So that was.
But I think the hardest part is translating that to the main roster, though.
Oh yeah, but that's with every NXT one, and that's why they're all different. But I think it's one of those things you put them in the ring and takes care of itself the same way it did for Ricochet. Next up, we had the NXT Women's Championship. This is obviously a rematch, and it was the dreaded submission match, which, again, this was doomed for me from the start because I just don't give a fuck about submission matches. I find them boring. I appreciate technical wrestling. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. And believe me, I watch UFC, so I watch a lot of submissions can be really fucking cool. But the WWE style submission, it kind of looks like a lay and pray, even if it isn't. Whereas, like, that's just how it is. But also, the biggest thing here is your champion is not a submission wrestler. We've never really seen her do anything. So it's kind of like how a steel cage takes away a lot of excitement of a wrestling match. Putting Tiffany Stratton, one of the most athletic women we've ever seen, in a submission match is neutering her best qualities. So I get the story, like whatever. I didn't love the finish with them throwing in the towel I don't know. Everything about this to me did not deliver, and I was disappointed.
They sacrificed what could have been a really good match. On paper, just a really good match for a storyline checkpoint, which I get. However, the one thing I realized when I was watching this matchup was like, this was a glaring, like, you got to stay down at NXT, Tiffany Stratton, because there were a couple of times where she slipped when it comes to submission, transitional kind of stuff that, like, you can always, and again, we're nitpicking because this woman's phenomenal.
Well, we're big Stratton fans, but all I can say, like, nitpicking for me too is her promo game has not been great as champion. Like, if anything, like her becoming champion and the amount of extra time she's gotten has kind of exposed how unready she was. But I still think she's a stud and she's fucking one of the futures.
You can see that she's going to get there and she's going to be a big fucking deal.
It's like when we watched Bianca, it was like, we know what's there. It's not there yet.
Yeah, no, that's a fair assessment. Anything else?
Should we get to the main event?
I mean, he don't miss, man.
Match of the year contender. And Nestle goes, anything else?
I was just trying to be funny.
I know. This was a great match. I mean, this is everything we thought it would be. I literally don't have much to say because it fucking delivered. Like, we knew it would. You're talking about two of the best fucking pure wrestlers. Probably the two best in NXT. And then never mind. It's just whew.
I didn't think of it right away until I watched the replay of the ending where I'm like, he fucking headbutted the title by accident. I'm like, what a fucking little nuance that was. Yeah. And I was like, it was kind of accidental heel thing to do, but I was like, this is great. I absolutely love that little aspect of it. And the fact that they were implying, and again, this is sometimes they miss it in commentary, but they really did a good job here, at least for me when I was watching, was they were kind of questioning the toughness of Carmelo. And like, but they were at the same time pushing that he could do it. And I thought this was a great kind of A to Z the whole way through watching this matchup. I'm like, okay, like now I have doubt. Can he do it? And then he did it. And I went, this is great. Now, like, he's flashy. He's great. He's got a charisma. He's got a walk, a stud kind of feeling when you see him in the room. But you kind of get like, is he a pretty boy? Is he going to be fancy? But like, can he get down and dirty? And this was the first time you've watched him and you went like, oh no shit. Like he can throw down too. So again, I'm a big honk for my boy, but I mean, I thought this, if this isn't in the TJ and JC or what do we call it? The TJC match of the year category, I'll be shocked.
Did you not hear what I said when I started this? I said a match of the year contender and sold it.
No, I'm just saying that, like, sometimes you and him get waddled down to 4.
We fucking get down to the end of the year and we have like 30 matches. So we put it up for a vote with the fucking entire Knocker team, and each person picks 4 matches, and the top 4 that get the most votes are the ones nominated for the category.
But then I love Dom and Conway, but it's like we have to grade on a goddamn scale because if it's not New Japan, it's Jesus Christ.
I mean, Ospreay Omega's probably going to be in. Those two are voting for it, but it's just like Nestle. It's not all about you, baby.
It is about me. I am the father of the Knocker.
Yeah, well, as Dom would say,
I am a father knocker.
What would Dom say? You're the deadbeat dad of the job.
I am the father knocker.
Oh my God. We got to move on. I got shit to do. We got to piss through fucking AEW before we get to fucking SummerSlam. Dynamite this week. We have a women's title match. Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida. Finally, Cocaine Cowboy remembered that Hikaru Shida's on his roster. We have Jericho and Takashita taking on Sammy and Garcia in a storyline that is like whatever. We have a Jungle Boy Jack Perry face to face with Jerry Lynn, because why the fuck? We have a triple threat anything goes match with Moxley, Trent, your boy, and Penta. Who fucking cares? Then the Ring of Honor tag team titles are being defended on Wednesday. Aussie. I love Aussie Open, but taking on the fucking hodgepodge of the Kino and fucking Captain Botch himself, Commander. Thoughts?
None of that is the fact that it's Dynamite 200 and they're
Dynamite
having a
sucks.
Ring of Honor tag team title match. I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this? The rest of the shit don't make any like. I get that they're trying. My brother said the whole thing about like I like wrestling for wrestling's sake. I wanted to scramble and like
I like
just,
some wrestling for
but
wrestling's sake, but you need fucking everything.
none
You
of
can't
this
be
is
a
entered.
one-trick pony.
I'm sorry, but anytime the best friends are on my TV screen,
You're
I
such a hater.
immediately fall asleep. I do not like the best friends at all. I like Orange Cassidy. I like Chris Statlander. I like Danhausen.
I forgot Chris Statlander existed.
But like those two together, Chuck and Trent, just ship them off the fucking Ring of Honor, ship them off to New Japan. When they're on my TV screen, I went, they've been together 10 years as a tag team. They have not won one tag team title. Not
that true?
one time. Yes, I saw that stat. And
That's
all I
fucking
could think of,
hilarious.
I was just like, you know what that means to me? Jobbers. You're done. Stop it. Stop pretending. Just stop pretending. It's
All
stupid.
right. Any other thoughts on Jerry
No,
Lynn
I know
or
you're.
anything else?
No, I don't give a shit about any of it.
Okay, good.
It's not watchable.
I agree. Rampage, I don't have a fucking clue. But Collision, baby, the A show, the A in AEW, the A plus in AEW. We have 2 title matches. We have this other X-rated world title. We'll call. So you know what, Elon, you put a fucking X on our app. CM Punk put an X on the title. This is the X. We're just gonna call it X. We're gonna
X
change
don't
the
give it to
color
you.
and call it X. Punk versus Starks. We also have the tag team titles. FTR will be defending against Brian Cage and Big Bill. What are your thoughts and who do you got?
I did not see how like the whole match of Big Bill and Brian
They
Cage.
won a battle royal, I think it was on Rampage.
But everybody says they were working really great in tandem, so I don't know.
They
I'll
were
have to,
great, and do you know they fought MJF and Cole? That match was awesome.
okay, I don't remember
Target.
watching it, but I'm sure I did. I don't remember. But again, I like secretly love Brian Cage. Like
I do
there's like
too. We've talked about this. I
yeah.
fucking really like him.
It's like you take all the best qualities of a human being and he's like right there. But and then Big Bill, I just kind of want to cheer for Big Bill because like just the story as a human being, you're kind of like, come on, give him a second chance in WWE. But that's just beside the fact.
No, thank you.
Okay, but anyway, what was the other thing? X gonna give it to you. I don't give a shit. Ricky Starks, I don't care about anymore. When they went back to a heel,
Did you just say you don't care about Ricky Starks anymore?
Ricky Starks is a heel.
Get
I'm
the
done.
fuck off my program.
No, this is
You're
my
fired.
program. I am not fired.
You are fucking fired.
No, I'm
because
not.
absolute. You fucking I can't believe
he went backwards. He went backwards.
You are disgusting. He just won the fucking Owen Hart.
Who cares?
He pinned CM Punk.
You just won on this program and you said he sucks CM Punk.
He does, but he's still a
matter?
major name. Who else has pinned CM Punk? John Moxley. Who else?
Moxley.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
All right,
That's
Ken.
It. Ricky Starks.
No, Ricky Starks is a heel. Doesn't do anything for me. The end. Moving on.
You're a fucking worm. He's not a heel. He's Ricky Starks. He's a fucking Eddie. Fuck it, bitch. On SmackDown this week, we had LA Knight. Yeah, I'll take it on Sheamus. And then we will now go to our SummerSlam predictions because those two are involved in a SummerSlam Battle Royal. The only
by Slim Jim.
Yeah, Slim Jim. That's that. They sponsored it. LA Knight's in a lot of these sponsored matches. Yeah, he was in the Mountain Dew Black one. Well, but the announced participants so far are LA Knight, Sheamus, Tommaso Ciampa, Shinsuke Nakamura, Otis, and Chad Gable. There will obviously be many more, but Nestlemania, out of the hodgepodge of whatever could happen in this match, who do you think will win the Slim Jim random LA Knight Invitational Battle Royal?
I mean, the safe bet is LA Knight.
He ain't winning, baby.
But here's my thought process. I think I'm going with Grayson Waller.
Oh my god, I'd love that.
Just because I feel like Waller dumping him out at the very end would be fucking hysterical.
When those two feud, I am gonna be unbearable.
So here's my
because my erection is gonna be like a Cody bone.
Here's my thought process. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Grayson Waller wins the fucking battle royal. Fucking holds it over, saying how great he is. He uses it to somehow win from either Santos or some triple threat. He's the United States champion. And then LA Knight has to chase Grayson Waller, United States champion, to finally overcome and win. That's what I would love to see.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, Grayson Waller's not my pick to win, though.
Of course not.
I mean, I could be ballsy with my hope and just say Braun Breaker, but picking someone who's 90% chances going to be in the match probably isn't the wisest thing I could do. So I'm going to pick the Tsunami. Give me Bronson Reed to win the whatever the fuck this Slim Jim Battle Royal, because when I think Slim Jim, I think Bronson Reed.
I think of Macho Man Randy Savage, but that's just me. But whatever.
Speaking of Macho Man Randy Savage, because this match also starts with an MMA rules match. Ronda Rousey takes on Shayna Baszler. Give me Shayna Baszler, because this feels like Ronda is sacrificing herself for her friend.
I mean, we both pick Shayna here. Please, no goddamn tap out. Let's do a knockout. That's what I want. That's what I really, really give me what I want.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. And what I need is, I don't know if it's this, but a singles match for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, the Reinhardt, defends against Drew McIntyre with Ludwig and Giovanni in tow. I mean, Gunther hasn't broken the record yet, so it's Gunther all day.
Gunther wins, and I don't think Dragunov is anywhere near it. So go fuck yourself.
And you've successfully not had to say the words Drew McIntyre in this program. Congratulations. Next up, singles match for the most viral sensation moment of the world ever. Yes, Ricochet, Logan Paul. This is interesting, but it feels like a Logan Paul win. But the way he made it personal with Ricochet on Monday puts that little bit of seed of doubt in my mind, because you never like the baby looking bad when someone says talking about his girl, saying some other dude's name. But I mean, we'll have to go. But I got to stick with the celebrity rule, but I don't love it. Give me Logan Paul.
I mean, Logan Paul's lost at WrestleMania, so I feel like he's lost a couple with Roman Reigns and stuff. He's due for a big dub here, so I'm going to pick Logan Paul.
Yeah, I think that's the sound logic. It makes sense. I hope I'm wrong, though. I'd love to see Ricochet get a big win. It's weird. This match is listed fourth. I'm not going to read it now, but we're going to go to a triple threat match for the one of 4 main events. I got to make sure I say that. WWE, they started like Cody Brock, one of the main events. Then they went to the women's, one of the main events. And they went to Roman Jey Uso. They're like one of the main events. I'm like, okay, so 3. And then they said Seth and Finn was also a main event. So one of the 4 main events, a triple threat
Welcome
match.
to SummerSlam, all main events.
God. Half the card is main events. There's 8 matches. 4 of them are main events. Triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. Asuka defends against Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. We have the Io Sky factor to consider. I'm going to stick with Asuka retaining, because I think a triple threat's an easy way to do it. I also think that Io Sky gets thwarted in her attempt to cash in.
I feel like I'm going to pick Asuka as well. I will not. I guess Danny's up to he's the prediction police here, but I'm trying to figure out if the cash in is going to happen. I feel like the fact that Asuka said, "I'll make you regret it," makes me think they're going to not pull the trigger on it. So I'll stay away from it.
Yeah, it just feels like they don't need to do it yet.
Okay.
That's what it feels like to me. Next up, we have the second of the 4 main events, a singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth freaking Rollins defends against Finn Balor. I picked Finn Balor last time, and I was like, I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to stick with Seth so I don't get another one wrong. But then I was like, you know what? If Finn actually wins, I can't be wrong. So I'm sticking with my guy. Give me Finn Balor to win the title. I think Priest will kind of tease a cash in, but he won't do it. I think he'll save it, because I think and this is for me selfishly, an intriguing thing would to have Finn be a little bit of a reign here, and at every turn kind of Priest lurking over his shoulder, and eventually we'll do it. But I kind of want to see that play out a little bit. But I also would love if Finn had another 2-second championship reign. Would be interesting too. But give me Finn, baby.
I'm going to go with the safer bet of Rollins, because I feel like he hasn't done enough yet with it. So I feel like they're probably going to make this work a little while longer with him.
Yeah, if he wins, Priest better fucking cash in and become champion.
Okay.
That's what I want. Next up, we also one thing to consider here. Danny talked about, it's not really a full return, but JD McDonough's kind of disappeared the last month and a half. It's kind of like they want to make you forget about him, but he was talking to Finn, so maybe he factors in here, maybe not, but it's something to consider at least. Next, we have the third of the 4 main events. It is a singles match. That's right, just a singles match between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. The payoff. Give me Cody. The man just had a documentary come out. He's the fucking American Nightmare. Give me Cody Rhodes.
I'm also picking Cody Rhodes, not because of the documentary or anything, but because, well, he needs to move on.
Move along to the actual main event.
Do you know what Move Along is? Do you know who sings that?
I don't know, but it's a song and I know it.
It's All American Rejects.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I did know that. Next up, we have the tribal combat for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship in recognition of being the tribal chief. Roman Reigns, the champion, who will be flanked by Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa, will be taking on Jey Uso and Nestlemania. Before we get into our predictions for this match, I will say I am very disappointed in WWE that Paul Heyman is no longer carrying the other 2 titles, because I just wanted the visual of them carrying those 3 titles for all of time. But it got me thinking, why would they do that? Why would they do it specifically now? As in, like, it was either last week or this week, because obviously I didn't watch last week. Is there a chance that Jey Uso might win? Because you don't want him to win when there's 3 titles there. When the person wins, it can only be 1 title. So it'd be that piss yellow, undisputed Universal Championship. Is Jey Uso going to be the one to defeat Roman Reigns, become the tribal chief, and end the reign of terror?
Nope.
Yeah, I agree. Give me Roman Reigns. I just like, it's one of those things like they've done enough here to make me think, but then I'm like, Roman Reigns. This has been the auto fucking free space on the board for like 3 straight years of predictions, except for WrestleMania. That was the one time it wasn't. But we're back to the free space, baby, because after watching that documentary, by God, it's fucking Cody Rhodes doing it next year at WrestleMania, and it's not going to be as special as it would have been this year, but it's whatever. I am curious how they do this though, because I'm super excited for this match.
I am too. And to blow up your spot, if you had watched this first take thing, he brought the 3 titles with him. So
okay, so they just didn't
maybe they did it. Maybe they did it because they want the presentation of the lay being like the tribal chief kind of thing.
Sense. Okay,
that they want.
I mean, and I'm all for the 3 titles because I think it looks ridiculous.
It's like a boxing. It's like when the boxing guy comes out with other championships. That's what I think.
Like, we never defend these titles, but I won them like 3 years ago, and no one challenged me for them. Like, right. I love that.
And it was funny because when they went to Roman, he goes, "That's my baby over there," and he pointed to the blue one. He goes, "Nobody gave a shit about that one. I made that. I made people give a shit about that." He goes, "You know what I did?" He goes, "You know what I did? I made that blue one more relevant than the real one." And I was just like, Jesus.
I love that.
So I was like, okay. So there you go. We don't have a lot of difference between you and me except one. Yep, just one and two. Just 1 and 2. No, and the Battle Royal.
Oh, well, yeah, that, I mean, none of us are going to be right because it's going to be Braun Breaker.
It's going to be all right. Or
yeah, it'd be funny if it actually was LA Knight after all that. Maybe it'll be Top Dollar because who had it?
Yeah, well, he can go over the top rope because he slips all the time, so he'll be fine.
I mean, they can't get him over the top rope because he's not capable of it, so he can never be eliminated.
On that note, we went way too long this time. We will be back next week with more Jobberknockery.
SummerSlam.